Hello, everybody.
Hello.
Welcome to. Yes, so glad for all of you to join us tonight. We want to welcome you to Focus on the Family Facebook Live tonight. And thank you once again for joining me together with Sarah and Esther tonight. And so, if you want, go ahead and please comment and let us know. If you are not, I mean, obviously, we are all in Singapore, but if you're not from Singapore, you're tuning in from somewhere else, why don't you go ahead and just tell us where you're tuning in from? All right, and we'll be glad to have you tonight in our live show. And so it's been said that the benefit of hindsight is that you suddenly have 20/20 vision, right? And although often we often see ourselves, as making mistakes along the way, and we see ourselves not being able to get to do-overs. But I think we can really learn from our experience of others who have gone before us. So today we are talking about what we wish, as parents, what we wish, right, we knew when our kids started school. And so my name is Joshua, and I'm honored to be your host tonight. It's been my joy and privilege really to journey with young people, teenagers, and parents for the past 25 years. And I'm married and blessed with two teenage daughters. And I'm also glad today to have two wonderful guests with me, Esther Foong as well as Sarah Go. Just let me introduce them to you. Esther has been equipping families and running educational children programs since 2017. And of course, previously, she has spent 14 years as a primary school educator, as well as spearheaded multiple community projects. And Esther's been married to Alvin 12 years. And she is a proud mother of two primary going children, right? And that's Esther for you. Esther, why don't you wave and say hello to everybody?
Hello,
All right,
everyone. Stay around.
Esther.
Don't ask too many questions.
All right, so that's Esther for you. And of course, I'm also joined here with me today with Sarah. And Sarah has been working with youth and started working with parents, after her 4 years, 6 months volunteer stint, right, with Singapore Boys Home. I think she was really inspired and believed strongly in leveling the playing fields for the youth in their academic journey, and has been coaching study skills, for more than a decade. And so she's experienced really in this area, so as well with Esther. And Sarah has a master's degree in law with NUS, and she's a happy mother of two. Okay, so you guys are really in for a treat tonight. Okay, so welcome Esther and Sarah. All right, so just very quickly, all right, if you guys can just share a quick story, right? What was it like for you, when you started school as a child, right? What was it like for you? Esther, go ahead, tell us what was it like for you when you first started school?
First, I'm thinking whether my mom is going to hear this because I'm going to say something about what she lied to me. No, so basically, I was going to start primary one, and I think December or something, like before start primary one, I had long hair. I love my long hair. It was all the way to my waist. And then my mom told me that primary school, everybody have short hair. You're not allowed to have long hair. Then you look different from others, Then she brought me, and they snipped off my hair all the way to my ear. And then I was like crying throughout while the hair. Hey, you're not supposed to laugh and empathize with me, leh.
Okay.
Sad.
So
what happened was, So my mom, frankly, it actually created a lot of fear because she made me feel like it's macam some prison like that got to cut hair. No, just like a very scary place full of disciplinarians who are going to catch me for my hair.
Wow.
And then,
Okay. So that was the experience. I think
but
also
I didn't
very
do that to
memorable.
my children.
Okay, all right, that's good to know. What a memorable experience. Sarah, what about you? How was your experience like?
No, I wanted to say, Esther, you're so blessed. At primary one, you already went to the hairstylist. I think my mom cut my hair all through primary school. My first experience was probably in Sec 1 or something like that. Yeah, so it's a standard, not slightly better than the bowl, but it's, not very happening. Yeah, no, she's quite skilled. But I think finally, I was just thinking about it that in kindergarten, I remember that I couldn't go to school if my grandmother wasn't with me. That means I needed her to accompany me to school.
Wow.
And she would sit outside my class. And if she were to leave, I will run out of the class and I will cry. I didn't, that has been, I think I was pretty shy when I was young. And then, but I think in primary school, secondary school, of course, it's different. I can't wait to go to school. Because I can't wait to meet my friends. I love mingling. I love chatting. So I actually thoroughly enjoyed school. Yeah, that has been my experience. Yeah.
Wow, that's great. Yeah, also remembered something like my grandmother, who would always be waiting for me, in front of the home to wait for me to come back home, and I think that's really something really memorable, as you were talking about this, Sarah. And and school has started, right? I think we are coming close to a month now, and what are some things, right, which probably both of you have heard from parents this year about starting school, which is probably different but from previous years. Maybe you can share that a little bit, Sarah. Yeah, what has been different?
Okay, I mean, for me, because I go to the school itself to do my programs, and something that is very obviously different is that, of course, everyone's wearing masks, and then they have to be seated individually. I mean, like, schools, sometimes we get to pair up, sometimes we sit in a group, and there's a lot of chatting going on in between or during class, but that's not happening now. Yeah, and I think if there is no aircon, I think most of the schools don't have air conditioning. Wearing a mask can be quite a test. I don't know. I mean, especially even for teachers. So perhaps I would say that may not be as pleasant as it used to be. And then if the weather gets a bit humid, I think to me, it will be a concern. That means if I'm a parent and my kids are going now, I just want to encourage parents, can you be mindful that the kids had to go through a very humid weather in class, trying to listen to the teacher through the mask, and then they themselves cannot engage with their friends and they're stuck on their table. They probably, so be kind to them when they come home, because maybe what they are going through, you may not be able to go through yourself if you were in school. I mean, that's what I thought would be something new and different with COVID-19.
Yeah, I think this mask thing is really very real, because but this thing about not being able to chit chat with friends also very real, because I went for my daughter's PTM last year, right, at nearing the end of the year, and then September. To my horror and shock, the teacher actually told me that my daughter has no friends. When she, I always thought that she's like some social butterfly every day.
Like you.
And she know all my friends better than I know my friends sometimes. But when the teacher said that, I was a bit shocked. Then apparently it's because they have been advised not to chit chat because of the droplets. And then during recess also the acrylic stand and everything. So it actually affect them socially. Then apparently the teacher had to help them make conversation. And she literally don't chat with people because she gave up being caught like, hey, stop talking, don't talk. The prefects are catching. So she just read throughout recess. But this thing about masks, I think, really affects our children quite a bit in terms of how they communicate, in terms of how they build friendships, I was just thinking, like last time when we talk to people, at least we can see, like now I can see you guys, your eyes, your mouth, like now, I remember my children telling me, like they're not very certain whether the teacher is really angry or just being sarcastic because of the mask covering their faces. And then among their friends, like Phoebe was telling me, her friend was trying to apologize to her, but she was not very sure if the friend was really sincere. So I think that there's some doubt about, like, or maybe second guessing each other because they can't really see fully. Because last time it's a combination of verbal cues, non-verbal cues, facial expression, even the tilt on whether you're smiling in full with all your teeth or without, So all this, I feel, really affecting our children socially, whether they can build trust with their friends fully, because now sometimes got to second guess.
That's right.
So maybe perhaps we have to instill some skills in terms of expressing or articulating their feelings, or even asking that person whether, sorry, do you mean this? I think, they need some training.
Or like, can you say that again? I didn't get you the first time.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
I mean,
Mm,
even when I was wearing the mask today at the grocery,
mm,
I couldn't get what my husband was trying to tell me because we're a certain distance, and so you can imagine that frustration among friends in school. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
younger kids
I
may
think
not
that's
know
just,
how to read the eyes.
Oh, I
Like they may
also.
not, yeah, like young kids don't know like this look or that look actually may mean different things. So
Wow.
yeah.
tough times,
Yeah, it's true. It is, yeah. I think because we are living in a situation, right, that I think probably it's not going to go away very soon. This whole idea of like having to wear the mask, and just be doing that, especially when we're out in the open. And I think there are some studies and with some experts from different places, right, who has made some observation, that and the reason is because when this is happening, right, there are still few things that I think will come up, potential problems, I would say, with this, is that, especially for children. For us as adults, I think we adapt and we begin to, like you said, read the eyes rather than the whole facial expression. But I think for example, kids under 12, right, have difficulty recognizing people, and because we often focus on individual features, and so they have a problem recognizing, hey, is this a friend I met yesterday or not, so it's
yeah,
one
yeah,
of
yeah.
the potential problem. Then, of course, there is a lot of emotional information which we display through the movement of our facial muscle, and because right now, right, we are covered, it's obscured by the mask, and like you say, like you mentioned earlier, right, as our children begin to wonder, they are not able to read they are not able to recognize, the emotions that's being expressed through social interaction. Then I think one of the other things that that is really important, which I think Sarah brought up, is the problem of speech recognition. Like you say, right, because it's muffled, and so we tend to think that muffled of speech is one thing, but we always think of communication as just taking place with sound, right? But I think there's a great deal of information that actually comes through communication through visual, and so, but with all these things that's confronting, right? I think as I'm reading, what people are saying, I think we are hopeful, because if teachers and parents, like you say earlier, can just be more aware of the struggles they're going through. I remember going to school just a few times, towards the end of last year, and I realized the room is so hot. I came back, because without aircon, I came back. I told my girls, I now know, why you always complain, about your school, environment, and just empathize with
Yes,
them. And so if we can
that's right.
just do that, like you say earlier as well, you brought up earlier, to be explicit, in your verbal communication, asking questions, and reading people's eyes, for example, to understand emotional content and the tone of voice. I think all these, I think parents can really help to assist their children. And what more, we're talking about, getting them to talk about how they feel, like, come back and from a social butterfly, to being said, by teachers having a difficulty making friends, to ask them, the questions, to just ask them why, what's happening. And I think all this will go a long way for children. And
That's right.
obviously, we're living in this challenging time with so many new challenges. But I believe the principle of parenting, right, remains the same, right? Even though some of our practices may need adjustment, but the principles are the same. And so with what we are facing right now, and just helping, on top of the struggle of transition for children into school, with the pandemic looming as well, with all these new SOPs, right? And with our own experience, and of course hearing from from other parents as well, right? Coming back to the heart of our topic today, what would you say was the greatest thing you wish you knew back then, which could help parents who are listening right now? Some of the transition issues that you guys face, and of course listening for other parents, what you wish you knew back then that could really help parents today in helping their children transit well, into school. Sarah, you want to go ahead first?
I mean, of course, there were many things that I feel that I could have done better. Like you
Mhm.
said just now, benefit of hindsight, vision 2020. But I think whatever I'm going to share now, I feel that maybe a lot of parents are already doing it, but for those who have not yet done, introducing a routine in your child's life will be something that can really anchor them through the academic journey. And but of course, I'm being mindful to say that when I say establish a routine, don't be like a hawk and then like, wow, every second counts, like every minute counts, So don't swing to that extreme, So do it with a lot of grace and balance. And so having a routine is important because otherwise, if they are coming home and straight off they are going to touch their social devices, that the whole afternoon could be all spent, and then you don't know where the time went to. So it would be really nice if they know, like, okay, do I come home? Should I take a shower first? Which of course I strongly encourage because of the humidity, right? And then maybe after the shower, when you're still fresh, you might want to do your homework first. Maybe at least the easiest one where you don't need parental guidance. Okay, you do the ones that you can do first. And then after that, you can be rewarded with playtime before dinner. And things like that where you at least the kids know what is expected of them. I'm not telling you to religiously follow the hour and the timing, but at least they know what is supposed to be done first and then what's next. And then after dinner, what would be the routine. So something like that would bring a lot of stability. And even if you can't be home in time, at least they won't feel lost. I think establishing a routine is something I would like to strongly encourage parents to at least have something to guide their school-going kids. That would be what I would like to share at this point. Yeah.
I agree.
Okay. I love
And then maybe to top it up, to also teach the children about gaining time. Because some of them follow routine and then they don't understand that. But if you work a bit faster, you actually gain more time.
To play.
对啊, sorry, yes. my former Chinese teacher vibes are coming out. So I'm not surprised.
Yeah.
No, yeah.
You never lose it, yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, our family also have routine, and but I think sometimes they're very frustrated. I need to do 1 hour. I say, if you can finish in half an hour, you gain extra time to do your own stuff.
No, but there's no stopping you from doing it faster.
Yeah, but I mind you doing it slowly. Okay lah. Yeah lah. But for me, I'm quite thankful because maybe because I actually my children are younger, so being in different communities and different people sharing their expertise or their learnings or their pitfalls allow my husband and I to actually learn a bit more beforehand. So I don't have much that I would think I want to reverse, but something that I'm kind of proud of about this transition thing is the joy of learning that Elvin and I try to maintain. I cannot tell you enough how tempted I was when my children were in preschool, when everybody, hey Esther, you got signed up for that phonics class, the preparatory class for P1 math, you go already, Hai Ping learn already. Wow, my goodness, it made me so stressed every time I hear them talk about which enrichment center to go in preparation. But Elvin and I spoke about it. We have decided that we will not want to set our children with too much of these things because we don't want them to be in a state of they feel that they have known everything that the P1 teacher is going to teach them and end up when they're in class, they'll think that the teacher is stupid. I already know you still teach. That's one. And then they will end up having this habit of not listening. Like when they look at the teacher, I already know. So in the end, they are so used to floating away or swiping the teacher away in their mind if they are device-hungry people. Or even, and do you know that this habit from my experience in school previously would be that when they hit P3, right, most of them would have already depleted whatever they've overlearned in K2. So when they hit P3, they suddenly realize that they can't catch up because they have not had the habit and the practice of listening attentively, being engaged with the teachers, and having that joy of learning or that concentration to complete tasks. And because they have never felt challenged because they have overlearned. Can you imagine 2 years of building the habit of not listening, and suddenly P3 they realize that, oh, my world is going to crash. So P2 to P3 is another transition, I would say. And at
Yeah.
P3, what we see is immediately their result drop and parents go into this frantic state of rushing the children for tuition. And then
Mhm.
joy of learning gone second round. And then
Yeah.
P5 come, another transition, another round of crazy tuitioning because of habits that so hard to kick now. So
Yeah.
my little advice, if you have a K1, K2 kid, unless your child is really in a very if their ability cognitively to catch up with academic stuff is very, very, very weak, if not,
Mhm.
right, try to manage this thing about everyone is doing, then I better go. And also set my children with a lot of preparatory classes.
Yeah.
Because I think MOE for P1 is that they plan with children who have not attended preschool in mind when they start P1.
Mhm.
You get what I'm talking about? Yeah.
Yes, yes.
So
Totally agree.
control yourself. It's very difficult. So find a community that will join you in that. Okay, it's okay. We're not gonna sign up for another enrichment class. That kind of group. Yeah.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. Both of you, and I think we maybe sometimes as parents, right? We are worried that they're not going to, succeed. In school, and that's why this whole catch up game, is always at the back of our mind, of wanting them to get ahead. So I'm hearing from you, right, from both of you, that we need to really manage that, either with time, with just getting them to enjoy the routine and things that are outside of the school, activities that's outside of the school, so that they can really begin to be motivated, and have the joy of learning at every stage of their life. And sometimes this whole idea of wanting to succeed really dampens their joy of learning. Yeah, Esther, go ahead. I see your hands raised.
I got raised hands, I'm very well trained.
Yes, go ahead.
No, I'm just
Go
thinking
ahead.
with this
Yeah.
line of thought, maybe one more thing is we are parents, right? So we are not teachers, so we don't have to create school at home. Because Sarah just now mentioned about kids full day in school already, so gangko, right? And then come home and then attending another school, whereby your parents suddenly take on the role of a teacher again. Then
Or worse, even more fierce than the school teacher.
possibly, and some can cane one, school cannot, but school.
Oh, that's so true.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
home is home. It's a safe place for our children
That's
to come
right.
home, be
Yeah.
it with their issues, their struggles, or their big emotions.
Mm.
But we don't need to create school at home, yeah?
Yeah,
And don't have to take over the role of a teacher. Maintain your role as a mom and a dad. I think that would be
that's
good.
right. It's true. I mean,
Yes.
when I share with parents about helping their kids do better in school, I always remind them that the home has to be a place of refuge, right?
Yes.
Because if we talk about the physical part, let's say it was really warm in school, you don't get to talk to your best friend, everybody has to keep quiet. Even recess is so miserable now, blah, blah, blah. So imagine your child coming home with frustrations and everything else. They would like to come home to some welcoming, or at least a place to rest first. Can I just decompress, chill out first, instead of like what Esther said, please don't make it school number 2, like morning school and then afternoon school. Worse is
Still got night school.
Yeah, worse is the second school is more strict than the first school, Yeah, so I guess it's not that easy, because you feel like you need to balance helping them catch up or be on par in school, or maybe a little ahead, and then yet wanting them to really chill. So I think that balance, in Chinese they call it nanie, that balance is pretty something that you have to discover yourself. And yeah.
I
Sounds
think
good.
beyond succeeding academically, right? I think we also want them to succeed in their emotional intelligence, as well as their social intelligence. I think these are very important skills they need to have to be able to do well in life. Not just in school, but it starts in school, right? And so these are things I think sometimes we don't emphasize enough. And we as parents need to really catch them, doing well on those areas, right? And be encouraging in those areas. So your idea of like the refuge, the home being the refuge, right? I think it's really important so that they can come back, right? They can find a place, of rest, find a place where they can begin to
Be
learn,
encouraged,
even be encouraged, even in this difficult situation of connecting with people, just come back, and be able to talk without their mask on,
That's
learn how
right.
to speak loud, learn how to
That's
speak
right.
louder, learn how to clarify emotions, I
That's
think
so
this is
true.
really important. Yeah, and
But they tend
so
to talk a lot louder at home nowadays. Maybe because with the mask in school. Now come home, I always tell Nathan 不用这样大声 don't need so loud, don't need so loud.
yeah,
So
yeah.
cute.
Yeah, there's always a barrier, so it's good practice. Yeah, but I do want to say, that our kids are really tougher than we realize. We give them credit for, and
It's true.
sometimes some of these things, we don't explicitly teach. They are picking up, from how we handle stress as well, how we handle a relationship. I think they pick up from us as well, and I'm just so glad that if parents can just affirm those things, right? It's really going to be very encouraging for our children, right? And so thank you so much for sharing on this point. And so now I think we want to just really move on now and just let's get practical. I know we talk about some of this I would say sage and wisdom that we want to impart to our parents listening in, right? So let's get practical. What do you think we can do to really ease the school transition, help our children to really have the courage to make friends, or really to enjoy school as it is, right? So for some families, I like Sarah said earlier, you already have in place, like daily routine. But for some, you're still finding your way, still working it out, And so some of the things, I feel that we can do already, but some of the things, we are still working out. So how do we help? Basically, I think first and most importantly, right? How do we? What are the practical things that we can do to help our children in the physical adjustment? When it comes to transiting into school. Sarah, you want to go ahead and take this? What are some practical tips? Because you mentioned earlier, about routine, right? So what are the practical tips, for physical adjustment, to smooth out this transition for our children? What can parents do to help our children?
Okay, let's just say that, let's say you have yet to establish a routine for your kid for the purpose of this discussion, right? And then I think it depends on how old the child is. Is he or she able to take ownership? That means, can they come up with their own routine and then maybe let you have some comments or guide or advice? Or they need to, if they're very young, then they need you to establish that routine for them. Okay, so I feel that when we do a routine, we need to be very practical about how much time can they actually do homework. Please don't set aside 2 hours. Even when you were a student yourself, can you really sit down 2 hours to do your homework, right? So I think parents have forgotten that they were once young, and a lot of times what parents expect from their children, they didn't realize that they couldn't do it themselves when they were kids. Okay, so I feel that my first advice is when you establish a routine, you got to learn to manage your expectation, give some leeway, but have a good direction. That means this is where I'm going. That means I would like to have the kids asleep by when. Okay. So let's say if in your plan you have time for revision, but homework is not yet done, don't get so anxious that you have to follow this routine, that you keep them past their bedtime simply because you want to follow their routine. So I feel that as long as they have finished their homework, I think we are good to maybe forsake the revision part, and instead of revision, if they are not in the mood, maybe read a book with them. Okay, my own firm belief is that if I can help my children love reading, it's okay that they don't go to a lot of enrichment class, because on their own they will be able to catch up, because they understand when they read the textbook, or they at least have the communication or the words to express or ask questions. So for me, a foundational skill is the reading skill. Okay. So the things you should have in your routine will be your makan time, right? When do you eat? When do you rest? See, I factor all the rest first. When do you eat? When do you rest? When do you sleep? And then Yeah, when do you play? Very good, especially yeah. And then after that, how maybe even homework, little chunks. Okay, so if your kid can't sit still for long, then do a
Yeah.
15 minutes, 20 minutes max, right?
Yes.
So if they're in secondary school, maybe they can push for even half an hour. So every
Mm,
child is different, every parent is different. Please don't compare. I
yeah.
think the worst thing for parents to
Yeah.
do is to compare whose child. I remember that when my kids were young, I was trying to tell her that I'm giving her so little assessment. I was telling her, so and so gave the daughter
Oh,
8 pages. I'm only giving you 4, or I'm only giving you 2, just to like make it sound like it's very little. And I was surprised she would say that, is it that you want so and so to be your daughter? I was
yo.
like, what? I was like,
Oh,
what? So
oh.
yeah, so don't bring up another child's name. Even when I
Yeah.
was young, I remember my mom would tell me, so and so's daughter is doing this. That's why I think you should do this. Then in my heart, I'm thinking like, So yeah, in whatever that we
Yeah.
try to implement at home, let it be this what you want for your child, not because somebody is
Mm,
doing it for someone's child, somebody else. It's just I think this is good for you, and let's get this done. I believe we can. And then everyone just celebrate progress. Instead
mm,
of results,
mm,
focus on the process and enjoy that process. I think that would be my practical tip for you in drawing out a routine for your child, right? Depending on what's their age, how much
mm,
involvement they should have. Anyway, up
mhm.
to a certain age, you can't dictate your kids. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
it's true.
true.
Indeed.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
I actually have an
Mm,
acronym,
mm.
to cover all that you said, Sarah. Okay,
Wow.
Woohoo!
Okay.
my acronym is that when you helping your child, right, to
Mm,
adjust well physically, you need to focus on them. You need to focus on the self.
mm,
Okay,
mm.
SELF, right? So the
Oh,
first one you need to
来了。
focus on, like, you need to focus on sleep, because I think
Oh,
the routine of
wow.
sleep is very important. I think you
Very
need to focus
important.
on exercise, because I think that's
Oh,
also very important. Then you need to focus on the L, which is leisure and learning.
mm.
Okay, the balance of
Wow.
leisure
Oh,
and
double
learning.
L.
Then the yeah, double L. And the last one is you need to focus on food. All right, to make sure that they eat well.
Oh,
But I
So remember
realize this
self.
S I
yeah.
realize this SELF, you think about it, right? It is all very basic necessity, which sometimes we may neglect.
That's right.
Yes.
Yeah,
That's right.
because
Yeah.
you would take that, isn't that common sense? But it is precisely the common sense that we will tend to forget, huh?
Take for
Well,
granted, maybe. Yeah.
对，yeah.
Mm.
So true.
But
But
it's
Yeah.
a good acronym.
yeah, I need to take note. But it should be SEL square F.
Don't bring in maths, okay?
Oh no, my math not that great. It's okay.
Yeah. So I think, really everybody, especially our young children, would they appreciate some level of predictability. And I think that's what routine brings into their life, the predictability, and it gives them the stability and a sense of security, right? I think this is
That's right.
something that we learn all the time. And so a good,
Mm.
consistent routine really is the key, right? So let's move on right now, right? When it comes to just talking about this whole preparing our children to transit well emotionally so Esther, maybe you can share your thoughts on this. How do we help our children to prepare well emotionally?
I'm trying to come up with an acronym, but never mind. Next time I'll try again.
Yeah.
No, I'm just thinking about, like, just now we mentioned about home and the atmosphere, right? I think really to really look at how home will be staged for our children to come back to. So regarding what Sarah said about, yes, we have a routine, but there should also be flexibility, observing. I take tonight for an example. Nathan finished his homework. It was already quite late. And then he just keep telling me he's tired. I'm so proud of myself for not being a tiger mom, because I told him, oh, then okay lor, just that 3-page of multiple choice or revision will do. Okay, fine. So anyway, so
Sounds-
Mm.
不会太多. So anyways, this thing about home, I think many times would be, I wouldn't say it's for children, but it's for parents to watch out for, mirror neurons. Because whatever you express on your face, right, it directly affects how the children are going to look back at you. You smile to them, they will smile back at you.
Aw.
You frown, they will frown more. You get
Wow.
angry more, they will get more angry. So this thing about that they are mirroring you is really very real. That's how their brain functions. I mean, judging if somebody smile at you, you also won't like stare back, right? If someone greets you. So I think let's be more watchful about the atmosphere that we want to bring home first with our expressions. Yeah. Sometimes I know it's very frustrating when you see them like cannot sit still, play pencil, play eraser, dust, and then you like keep frowning, stop it. But if you change that moment, it may bring a very different result. And then I also feel the second, so expression is one thing, that the other thing is what you say. Being a Chinese teacher, I've for all my PTMs last time, I hate it when parents like, 陈老师, Chinese so difficult, Chinese very, very difficult leh. So my children really, Chinese so difficult. I'm like, Chinese by right not difficult. For the fact that you have said it for 10 times in that 5 minutes, it will become difficult.
That's so true.
What you say and what you show is going to be very powerful to form how our children are going to take school. How they're going to feel towards school, how they are going to respond towards so Chinese, So I would say, let's watch out for our expression, and also listen to what we are saying, because sometimes we just shoot it out, we actually don't process. You want your children to have a fun time in school, you got to present school as good and fun. You want your students to like their teachers, you will not talk bad about your teachers.
That is so right.
Yeah.
I mean, that is so, I mean, I'm so glad you brought this up. It's like I hear things like parents say, oh, my children are not the studying type.
I'm saying, you say already, then they will not study lah.
Because then they will tell themselves, I'm not the studying type. I mean, how would they know whether they are the studying type, right? Exactly. Unless they heard it from their parent. So a lot of times I wouldn't even say it's a self-fulfilling prophecy. It's like you have spoken it into the atmosphere, or you have spoken it out, and then the kids will take you as the bearing. And if you say so, then that must be it. Even if they don't agree with you with their lips or their words, at the back it has gone into their subconscious. That's what they tell themselves when they are dealing with a difficulty. So it's true, it's like if you tell them, don't worry, everything is going to be all right. Even if they are panicking, they hear everything is going to be all right. It'll be fine.
Yes.
Or if they say that, if you tell them it's okay, we may not have done well this time round, but we will continue to improve. Okay, even a little bit of improvement is a good improvement. And they will hear that and they will talk to themselves, okay, I've improved. Versus, oh my gosh, you could have done better. What happened to you this 3 months? How could you have done this? And then when they're on their own, they'll be telling themselves, why did I do this? How could I have done this? So the words that we speak out, I think, Esther, that is priceless. That what we speak to our kids, even if we are not saying it to them, we are saying it to someone else we met on the street, and my son, not the studying type. That's it. If they hear it, they will think that is it. I think we should be more mindful about the things we say around.
That's right. Words really have power, and I think we totally agree with you guys. And I think one of the ways to really be able to help them emotionally, right, is really to also invest in their inner world, right, to just know the kind of, you say right earlier, just be able to know what they go through and just show a little bit of compassion, when they come back after a long stressful days. I think it's really important. And starting school, whether it is from kindy, to primary school, to even secondary school later on, I think it's one of the many transitions that our children will have to go through. And so when we help them to develop from young, right, characters and skills, that will last a lifetime. I think these are the things that what you guys are saying, really is something that will really help prepare them, for life, and we are just not talking about school. School is the foundation, but really preparing them for life. And so we just a quick note, the time is really catching up. And if any one of you have any question, we I'm not sure whether we can answer all of them, but please go ahead and ask them in the comment section, and we will pick it up if we can. And so just a quick one right now, right? I mean, if you guys, we're coming towards the end of our broadcast. Some final words that you want to give to our parents, do you have any final words? Just as an encouragement for our parents as they navigate through helping the children to transit successfully, into school. Do you have any final words? Esther, why don't you go ahead first? And but
Wow, your arrow comes so fast. Actually,
Teacher.
I have two words.
Okay,
No lah,
that's
no
good.
lah. I think firstly, I think parents can really cut yourself some slack. I do understand how we all hope for our children to grow up well, but I think the definition of well really need to be dependent on who your child is and how they are. Sarah and I think we have emphasized so often that every child is unique. So, but when you're able to look only at your child, not in the light of others, you will find gems. You'll be surprised with what you will actually find out about your children. But at the same time, I really hope that all you parents can also find something that you like to do and have some. Everyone expect us to be patient with the whole world, with our children, with the government, with everything, be nice, be patient. But today I would urge all of you to really be patient with yourself, that you're also a growing person, because parenting is a bag of skills that we are all learning. Okay, I think this one point will do lah, because the other one may be too long.
Wow.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah,
so look after yourself first. Oxygen mask theory.
Wow. Oh my gosh.
Amazing.
Yeah. That's exactly. It's almost like Esther went into my head and took what I wanted to say.
Really? I should have said the other one.
Well, yeah. But okay, I will say mine very quickly because it's the same thing. But then you can say the other one, okay? Which is that number one, don't be so hard on yourself. Okay, don't be so hard on yourself. And when you don't need to play catch up, you don't. Okay, because everyone has a very different definition of what success is and what being good is. Okay, and we are given very different sets of gifts, personality, and what we really enjoy is different. So I know it's tough, but to resist being put into the rat race, for lack of a better word. Okay, so if a certain group of friends are making you feel very stressed about what you have done or what you have not done for your child, maybe you should cut down that contact, because it's not adding to your situation.
Totally. Quit Facebook groups that is not giving you a positive environment.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. Because we can only do this much, right? Every one of us have different sets of resources. Every one of us actually want different things for our children. I remember telling my kids, as long you can be anything you want to be, as long as you are able to feed your family, okay, and that means you are able to be responsible for a family, for raising a family, and I say you enjoy what you're doing. And I would like to encourage you that it is something that you can add to the society. You can bring some blessings to the people around you. I don't tell them that you need to be this occupation, do this, do that. The world we live in is so different now. Okay, so in this academic pursuit, we must not lose sight of what is truly important. What's truly important is love, right, support. Actually, reading is very important. I love to read is very important. Yeah. So I wanted to say the oxygen thing. See the oxygen mask in the plane.
I high five from the other end of Singapore.
I must do this to you. I must do this to you. Oh my gosh,
you're more hip.
Yeah, I was really going to say that, right? You got to look after yourself, right? Happy parents, happy kids. When you're zai, right? My only very limited Hokkien. When you're zai, right? When you're cool and calm, even if you are not, you must pretend to be, so that your child can also be zai, cool and
because
calm.
they rub off everything. They rub off everything from you.
Yeah, when kids are very anxious, you don't need to look far to see where their anxiety come from. Oops, and then sometimes when I talk to parents who complain about their kids, in my head I'm thinking isn't that you? It's
so scary.
So sorry, right? Or I'll be thinking that now I know why the child is the way he is, because you can see it in the parent. Oops, But I'm saying this to encourage you. Okay, take it easy. Take a deep breath. No need to catch up. Work on your own pace, according to your child's pace. Both of you happy, have enough sleep, eat well. Okay, exercise. Okay, depends. No, just kidding.
Yeah, I was just about to say exercise so difficult.
Yeah. So if all
Right.
is well with you, all shall be well with your child.
Yeah.
I
That
always
is the
I always
goal.
think about our parenting journey, right, as being so short. We have about 16 to 18 years with them. And so we need to treasure the moment that we have with them, right, in this
That's
journey.
right.
Yeah.
And so starting school is an exciting journey. Well, it comes with challenges, but we also can enjoy it together, right? So
Yes.
thank you so much, Esther and Sarah, for just encouraging the parents and just helping, to give some, I would say, nuggets of gold and truth to help us as parents, to journey along, especially helping our children transit into school. And so thank you so much, all of you, for joining in this Facebook Live. We just want to appreciate your time. And if you can just go ahead and like us on on our Facebook page and share the video, so that you can encourage those parents who didn't have a chance to catch the program tonight. So I want to encourage you to do that. And of course, the other thing that I want to also announce is that we are actually having a webinar that's coming out soon. I'll be hosting a webinar that's coming out school called Developing School Readiness and Social Intelligence in Your Child. All right, and so this will be on the 6th of February from 10 a.m. to 12 a.m. So come and join me and basically arm ourselves as parents, with more skills in order for us to be able to really help children succeed, in school readiness, but more importantly on social intelligence as well. And I think I referred to that earlier. All right, so we thank you so much once again for just spending the time with us. We hope you have enjoyed the program tonight. And so I want to wish you all good night and all the best in your journey as parents. And don't give up and continue this journey to develop
Go get bubble
great
tea.
people for the future. Okay, so thank you so much, Sarah and Esther, for
Thank
just
you, Joshua. Thank you, Esther.
sharing
Thank
your
you,
heart.
everyone.
Thank you so
you.
much. Bye, everybody. Take care.
Bye.